Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for Your Mark on the World, and I'm excited to have with us today a very special guest. We have Shannon Keith, who is the president of the Beagle Freedom Project, with us today. She's organizing this group to help save animals from animal testing. Shannon, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want you to tell us a little bit more about your work, what you're doing.
Well, Beagle Freedom Project is a nonprofit organization with its mission to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome animals in research facilities. Many of these animals are beagles, which is why we call it Beagle Freedom Project, but we have also rescued all types of breeds of dogs, cats, pigs, horses, rabbits, even some goldfish. And our ultimate goal, of course, is to educate the public about animal testing, to help them with cruelty-free alternatives, and then introduce legislation to help end the testing that is not required by law.
I think it's a good, noble thing. There's a lot we can talk about. Let's start with having you tell us a little bit more about the kinds of testing that are being done that aren't required by law.
Sure. Yeah. Right now, it is not required by law to test any types of products on animals. So that means your household products, such as your laundry detergent, your floor cleaner, your window cleaner. Same thing with cosmetics. So, makeup, sunscreen, hair conditioner, that type of stuff is not required either. However, many companies are still testing on these products on animals. And it's just really a liability thing for them. I think they want to help protect themselves should they get sued, that type of thing. And also, it would be initially costly to make the initial change over to non-animal tested methods. So our goal is to kind of spread that out and say, listen, that doesn't have to be done. People aren't going to buy your products if you continue to test on animals, and we're going to make sure that it ends.
So it seems to me that animal testing has to be fundamentally expensive. It requires labs and food and all kinds of things. You would think it would be less expensive to use alternative means, wouldn't it?
Definitely, yes. We've done the research. We've run the numbers. It is definitely less expensive, not to mention much more ethical. However, the initial cost of ending animal testing and using alternate methods would be costly, although it would pay off in the end. So I think that that's some of the reluctance as well with regard to these companies, although they're multi-million-dollar companies. So.
Yeah. How do consumers know which products have needless animal testing involved?
That's a great question. We get asked that all the time. And we just launched our very first app. So right now it's for the iPhone. It will be for the Android soon, but you can get it on iTunes, and it's called Cruelty Cutter. Cruelty Cutter. And all you do is you take your phone with you and you scan a barcode on a product, and it will instantly tell you if it is cruelty-free or not. And if it's not, you can instantly share those results, and even if it is, you can share those results on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. And it's a great way to also get active. And it's a great way to collect data for us to later show those companies who are still testing on animals, look at all the people who didn't buy your product because you test on animals.
Yeah, that's got to be a great point of education. So tell us a little bit about some of the animals you've rescued.
Wow, well, we've rescued over 250 animals since we started, and it was something that I thought could never happen. I never thought we could rescue animals from laboratories. What an exciting thing to do. The majority of those animals have been dogs, and the majority of those dogs have been beagles. And they're all very different. Different labs treat them differently, and even rescues within the lab are different just based on their own personalities and their sensitivities. There are many that really touch my heart so much that I was heartbroken over because of their just insane fear of being free, of being outside of this big world that they knew nothing of. And then there are some who are just like, yes, freedom, and I'm going to run around and jump and play, and oh my God, life is so great now. So they're all so different in different ways.
Yeah, I imagine it's traumatic. I mean, these dogs have been emotionally as well as physically tortured, right?
Correct. Yes, it's It's so traumatic, and you know, sometimes you think, well, when you open that cage door, I mean, they should be like any dog, right, and be happy to be free and running. But it is traumatic for them. It is so scary. Many have never even been outdoors, so they've never even seen sunshine, and that's a scary thing for them.
Yeah. Why did you get into this? How did you start? What was the driving factor, the experience that you had that made you jump into action?
You know, I'm not sure what it was. I can only relate it to maybe being an only child, and all my friends were animals that I would, you know, rescue strays or the animals that we had at home. And I just felt a connection with them. And I've always fought for the underdog, so to speak, and decided to become an attorney to protect animals and, you know, to fight for them and be their voice. And that propelled me into more activism and into forming animal rescue media and education and Beagle Freedom Project.
And how's it going? How do you measure your success?
A few ways. We measure success by how many supporters we have, the questions that were asked, the people who want to help volunteer, foster, adopt, donate. We also measure it by our opposition. We know that when our opposition gets angry and starts sending emails about us and blasting us, that we must be making a mark.
That is an interesting way to measure your progress. But what are some of the, who are some of the big offenders? Is there anyone you want to call out today?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. Some of the big offenders that people can really relate to are companies like Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble own all of the brands that people have heard of because they're on TV all the time, on commercials. So we're talking about laundry detergent like Tide and things like that. If you look at Procter & Gamble, you'll see all the brands. Johnson & Johnson, same thing. SC Johnson. Those are the three, I would say, top offenders in terms of your products and your cosmetics that people really need to look out for. Same thing with Revlon and L'Oreal and CoverGirl.
Wow. It just seems so ironic that people would be testing cosmetics on animals.
It makes no sense. That's what we keep trying to say, is that, you know, physically it makes no sense. You know, even when we're talking about pharmaceuticals as well, and they differ from species to species, let alone, you know, and breed to breed. So, you know, we have a scientific advisory committee within Beagle Freedom Project that analyzes all of this, and they typically use rabbits for things in eyes, like mascara or things that will get in your eye. And rabbits' eyes are completely different than the human eye. They've got a third eyelid that we don't have. It just really doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So who are some of the brands that you're most fond of because they're not doing the animal testing?
Lush is an amazing brand because Lush is not only cruelty-free, but they also have an activist component to what they do. And they're also very conscious of the environment and of human rights. They cover the whole gamut. They're excellent. I love them. There are so many companies that I love, like Jason is another great cosmetics company. They make great toothpaste, things like that, you know, they provide good alternatives to things that you might be used to. Like people are maybe used to buying Colgate, well, you buy Jason instead, and it looks and tastes the same. It just doesn't have the cruelty element involved. There's a whole host of them. We have them listed actually on our website at beaglefreedomproject.org, the companies that we love, that we support, that are really easy to find.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Shannon, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. It's exciting to learn about the work you're doing, the progress you're making, and we certainly wish you success in rescuing and saving these animals and encouraging better behavior on the part of our corporate partners. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. I appreciate you getting the word out there.
So people can learn more about what you're doing at beaglefreedomproject.org. You're also on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
It's at Beagle Freedom.
Okay, great. Anywhere else people can find you?
You can find us on YouTube at Beagle Freedom Project. Pinterest, Beagle Freedom Project, Instagram, Beagle Freedom Project, and Facebook, Beagle Freedom Project.
Okay, fantastic. You're all over.
Yes.
All right. Thank you now. Appreciate your time today.
You too.
All righty. Let's do some good.